3. Missing articles, a and the. Mistake, leaving out articles where they are needed. For example, incorrect, I have dog. Correct, I have a dog. Why it happens? Some languages don't use articles, so it can be easy to forget them in English. How to avoid it? Remember to use a or and for singular countable nouns. Use the when talking about something specific. 4. Overuse of articles. Mistake, using articles when they aren't needed. For example, incorrect, she is the teacher of English. Correct, she is an English teacher. Why it happens. Sometimes we think we need the or a for everything, but it depends on how specific or general the noun is. How to avoid it. Use the only when you're talking about something specific that both the speaker and listener know about. 5. Confusing prepositions. Mistake, using the wrong preposition. For example, incorrect, I'm waiting on the bus. Correct, I'm waiting for the bus. Why it happens. Prepositions can be tricky because they often don't translate directly from other languages. How to avoid it. The best way to learn prepositions is through practice. Focus on common phrases like wait for, listen to, or look at. 6. Double negatives. Mistake, using two negative words in a sentence. For example, incorrect, I don't have no money. Correct, I don't have any money. Why it happens. In English, using two negative words makes the sentence confusing. Instead of meaning, I have no money, it sounds like I have money. How to avoid it. Use only one negative word in a sentence. For example, I don't have any, or I have no. 7. Incorrect word order. Mistake, putting words in the wrong order. For example, incorrect, he always is late. Correct, he is always late. Correct, he is always late. Why it happens. Different languages have different word orders, so we sometimes mix up the word order in English. How to avoid it. In English, the usual order is subject plus verb plus object. Adverbs like always or never usually go after the verb to be am, is, are. 8. Not using the right pronoun. Mistake, using the wrong pronoun. For example, incorrect, me and him went to the store. Correct, he and I went to the store. Why it happens. We sometimes get confused about when to use I, me, he, him, etc. How to avoid it. If you're not sure, try saying the sentence with only one person. Would you say, me went to the store? No, you'd say, I went to the store. The same rule applies when adding other people. How to fix these mistakes. Practice, practice, practice. Now that you know some of the most common grammar mistakes, how do you avoid them? Here are a few tips to help you practice. Read aloud. When you read English, pay attention to how sentences are structured. Look for the correct use of articles, prepositions, and verb tenses. You can find useful examples in the videos on Thester Speak Online. Write and review. Practice writing sentences in English, and then check them for common mistakes. You can ask a friend, teacher, or even use online grammar checkers to help. Speak and listen. Try to practice speaking English every day. When you speak, you'll get better at using the right grammar automatically. You can also shadow videos on Thestorspeak Online to hear correct grammar in use. Ask for feedback. Don't be afraid to ask for help. In the comments below, share a sentence where you think you might be making a mistake, and I'll help you correct it. Now it's your turn to practice. In the comments, try writing one sentence that uses correct subject-verb agreement, the right article, and no grammar mistakes. I'll be checking and giving you feedback. Part 6. The Power of Practice. Exercises and Activities. Hi, I'm Adam, and welcome back. Today, we're going to explore one of the most important parts of learning grammar: practice. It's said that practice makes perfect, and when it comes to grammar, the more you practice, the more confident and fluent you will become. Let's jump in and learn how different exercises can help you master grammar. Why practice matters. Learning grammar is like building a muscle. The more you work on it, the stronger and better it gets. Simply knowing the rules of grammar isn't enough. You need to use them regularly. Practicing helps you remember the rules. When you practice grammar, it becomes second nature, and you won't need to think about the rules when you're speaking or writing because they'll come naturally. Spot mistakes. The more you practice, the easier it will be to spot mistakes in your own writing and speech. Improve fluency. Practicing grammar helps you speak and write more smoothly without hesitation. As the famous saying goes, practice makes perfect. Let's take a look at some exercises and activities you can use to practice and improve your grammar. Fill in the blank exercises. Why it's useful. This is one of the best ways to focus on specific grammar rules. You'll get practice with things like verb tenses, prepositions, articles, and more. Example: I ate breakfast this morning. She are very happy. How to practice. You can find fill-in-the-blank exercises in English grammar books online, or even create your own sentences. Try focusing on one grammar topic at a time, like tenses or articles. Rearrange the sentence why it's useful. This helps you understand sentence structure and is a great way to practice word order. Example: Going am I to store. I am going to the store. She likes dogs and cats. How to practice. Find scrambled sentences online or make your own by writing sentences and mixing up the word order. Try to unscramble the sentences and get the correct structure. This will train your brain to think in English sentence patterns. Shadowing technique. Why it's useful. Shadowing helps you practice grammar in real time by repeating after native speakers. It's especially helpful for improving your speaking fluency and sentence structure. How to practice. Choose a video or podcast in English, like the ones available on Thestorspeak Online. Listen to a sentence or two, pause, and repeat what you heard. Try to copy the speaker's grammar, sentence structure, and pronunciation. This technique will help you practice grammar naturally. Write short sentences every day. Why it's useful. Writing forces you to apply grammar rules. The more you write, the more familiar you'll become with sentence structure, tenses, and other grammar points. How to practice. Every day, write a few simple sentences. Focus on one grammar rule at a time. For example, today you might write sentences using the past tense, and tomorrow you might focus on prepositions. Example, past tense. Yesterday I walked to the park. Prepositions. The book is on the table. After you write your sentences, review them and check for any mistakes. If you're not sure about something, ask for help or use grammar tools online. Grammar quizzes. Why it's useful. Quizzes are a fun way to test what you've learned. They can help you spot areas where you need more practice and show you which grammar rules you've mastered. How to practice. Take online grammar quizzes that focus on specific topics, such as verb tenses, articles, or subject-verb agreement. The quizzes will give you instant feedback, so you'll know where you're doing well and where you need to improve. Conversations with a focus on grammar. Why it's useful. When you practice grammar in conversations, you're putting it to use in real life. This helps make the rules stick. How to practice. Find a language partner or friend to practice with. Choose a grammar point to focus on during your conversation. For example, you could focus on using the present tense or practicing conditional sentences. If you don't have a partner, you can practice speaking to yourself or record your voice and listen back to check your grammar. Read, read, read. Why it's useful. Reading helps you see grammar in action. You can observe how sentences are structured, how tenses are used, and how punctuation is applied. The more you read, the better your grammar will become. How to practice. Read simple English books, articles, or blogs. Highlight sentences that you find interesting or useful. Pay attention to how grammar is used in each sentence. After reading, try to write a few sentences of your own using similar grammar structures. Example. If you read a sentence like, "She enjoys going to the beach," you can write a similar sentence. "He enjoys always playing soccer." Your turn. Now it's your turn to practice. In the comments, try one of the exercises we talked about today. You can write a sentence, complete a fill-in-the-blank exercise, or even share a sentence you heard in a conversation. I'll be here to help and give you feedback. Remember, regular practice is the key to improving your grammar. Don't forget to visit Thester Speak online for more exercises and practice videos. Part 7. Listening and Speaking. Applying Grammar in Conversation. Hi, I'm Adam, and welcome back. Today, we're going to explore how listening and speaking exercises can improve your grammar. Knowing the rules of grammar is one thing, but applying them in conversation is a whole new level of learning. Let's dive in and see how listening and speaking can help you use grammar naturally and confidently. Why listening and speaking are important for grammar. Listening and speaking are two key skills in learning any language. When you listen carefully, you can hear how grammar is used in real conversations. And when you speak, you put those grammar rules into action. The more you listen and speak, the more automatic correct grammar becomes. As Dr. Seuss once said, the more that you read, the more things you will know, the more that you learn, the more places you'll go. The same idea applies to listening and speaking. When you practice, you open up new doors to fluency. 1. Shadowing. Speaking along with native speakers. Why it works. Shadowing is a great technique where you listen to a sentence and then repeat it out loud, trying to mimic the speaker exactly. This helps you practice sentence structure, grammar, and pronunciation all at once. How to practice. Choose a video or podcast with simple English sentences. You can find helpful content for shadowing on ThesterSpeak Online. Play a sentence, pause, and repeat it out loud. Focus on how the sentence is structured, where the verbs, subjects, and prepositions are placed. Repeat until you feel comfortable saying the sentence smoothly. Example: if the sentence is, I am going to the park, focus on the subject I, the verb am going, and the preposition to the park. Repeat the sentence exactly as you hear it. 2. Active listening. Focusing on grammar in conversations, why it works. Active listening means paying close attention to how people use grammar when they speak. This will help you understand sentence structures, tenses, and other grammar points in real-life conversations. How to practice. When you listen to English conversations, either in videos or podcasts, focus on the grammar. For example, if someone is telling a story about the past, notice how they use past tense verbs. Try to identify specific grammar patterns, such as present continuous, e.g., I am eating, or future tense, e.g., I will go. You can also practice active listening with videos on ThesterSpeak Online, where native speakers use everyday grammar structures. Example: if someone says, I went to the store yesterday, focus on the past tense verb went. Notice how they talk about something that happened in the past, and try to understand why they used that verb. Third role-playing conversations. Why it works. Role-playing is a fun and effective way to practice speaking. By imagining different situations, you can practice using different types of grammar, from asking questions to giving answers, using the right tenses and structures. How to practice. Pick a scenario, e.g., ordering food at a restaurant, asking for directions, or talking about your day. Write down or think about what you would say in that situation, focusing on using correct grammar. Practice the conversation with a friend, language partner, or even by yourself. If you're practicing alone, say the sentences out loud as if you're really in the situation. Make sure you use the right verb, tenses, prepositions, and sentence structures. Example: In a role-playing conversation at a restaurant, you. I would like to order a sandwich, please. Correct use of would like for polite requests. Waiter, what kind of sandwich would you like? You. I'll have a chicken sandwich. 4. Speaking in everyday situations. Why it works. The best way to improve your grammar in speaking is to use it in real-life situations. Whether it's practicing with friends or speaking to yourself, the more you speak, the more you'll improve. How to practice. Talk to yourself in English. Describe what you're doing in simple sentences. For example, I am cooking dinner, or I will study English after lunch. If you have a friend or language partner, set up regular conversations where you only speak in English. Focus on using correct grammar, even if you're talking slowly at first. You can also participate in online discussions or leave voice messages in English to practice speaking and grammar. Example: if you're practicing by yourself, try saying, "Today, I am going to study grammar. Tomorrow, I will practice speaking." Notice how you switch from present continuous, I am going, to future tense, I will practice. 5. Listening to native speakers. Why it works. Listening to native speakers helps you hear how grammar is used naturally in conversation. You'll hear different verb tenses, sentence structures, and ways of asking questions. How to practice. Watch English videos or listen to podcasts designed for beginners. You can use videos from ThesterSpeak online for this. Pay attention to how native speakers ask questions, make statements, and describe actions. Listen for common sentence structures, and note how they use different grammar points. Try to imitate what you hear by repeating the sentences out loud. Example: if you hear someone say, "I have been learning English for 2 years," notice that they're using the present perfect continuous tense, have been learning, to describe an ongoing action that started in the past and continues in the present. Repeat the sentence and think about how you can use this tense in your own conversations. 6. Recording yourself, speaking why it works. Recording yourself allows you to hear your own grammar mistakes and correct them. It also helps you track your progress over time. How to practice. Choose a topic to talk about. It could be something simple like what you did yesterday or your plans for the weekend. Record yourself speaking for a few minutes. Try to focus on using correct grammar, but don't worry if it's not perfect. Listen to the recording and note any mistakes. Do you mix up tenses? Are there sentences that don't sound quite right? Practice again and see if you can improve. Example: record yourself talking about your daily routine. You might say, "I wake up at 7 a.m., then I have breakfast. After that, I go to work." Listen to see if you're using the right verb tenses. Present simple for routines, and correct any mistakes. Your turn. Now it's your turn to practice speaking and listening. In the comments, share a sentence you heard or practiced using one of the techniques we discussed today. Let's work together to improve your grammar. Remember, practice makes perfect. and speaking regularly will help you get comfortable using grammar correctly. Don't forget to check out more speaking and listening exercises on Thester Speak Online to keep improving. Part 8. Reviewing and Mastering Grammar Through Reading. Now we're going to talk about one of the most powerful tools for mastering grammar: reading. Reading not only improves your vocabulary and comprehension, but also helps you see how grammar is used in real-life contexts. By reading regularly, you can learn how sentences are formed, how tenses are used, and how grammar rules come together naturally. Let's dive in. Why reading is key to learning grammar. Reading allows you to absorb grammar naturally, just like a sponge. When you read, you're exposed to correct sentence structures, verb forms, prepositions, and punctuation. You get to see how native speakers write and communicate, which helps you understand how to use grammar rules without always thinking about them. As Carl Sagan once said, "To read is to voyage through time." Reading takes you on a journey, not only into stories, but also into the mechanics of language. How reading helps you master grammar context matters. When you see grammar rules in action, you understand them better. For example, learning about verb tenses is one thing, but seeing how tenses are used in a story will make it stick in your memory. Sentence structure. Reading helps you learn how sentences are built, including how simple, compound, and complex sentences work. You'll notice how writers use conjunctions like and, but, and because to connect ideas smoothly. Punctuation in action. You'll also see how punctuation, like commas, periods, question marks, and quotation marks, is used. This will improve your writing and help you express your thoughts more clearly. Variety of grammar. You'll be exposed to different grammar rules such as passive and active voice, conditionals, and modal verbs. The more you read, the more familiar these concepts will become. What to read for grammar practice. Choosing the right reading material is important for improving your grammar. Here's what you should look for. Simple English books. If you're just starting out, choose books that use simple language and straightforward sentence structures. Look for beginner-level novels, short stories, articles, or children's books. These are great because they use basic grammar structures, grammar and vocabulary, making them easy to understand. You'll also see correct grammar in short, easy sentences. Online articles or blogs are great resources. Find articles on topics that interest you. Blogs and articles often use conversational English, so you'll learn grammar that is used in everyday speaking and writing. English learning websites like Thester Speak Online offer stories and podcasts specifically designed to help language learners improve their grammar. These materials are written with language learners in mind, so they use simple but correct grammar structures. Techniques for learning grammar. Through reading, highlight grammar rules as you read. Highlight examples of grammar that you want to learn. For example, if you're learning about past tense verbs, Underline every sentence that uses the past tense. Create your own sentences after reading. Try to create your own sentences based on what you've learned. For example, if you read a sentence like, "She walked to the store," practice writing similar sentences like, "He walked to school," or "They walked to the park." Read aloud. Reading aloud helps you hear the grammar in action. It forces you to pay attention to sentence structures, punctuation, and word order. Plus, it gives you speaking practice at the same time. Summarize what you read. After you finish reading, try to summarize the main points in your own words. This will help you practice using correct grammar while reinforcing what you've just learned. Examples of how reading helps grammar verb. Tenses in stories. Let's say you're reading a story in the past tense. You'll notice that all the verbs are in their past form, like was, went, or said. This helps you see how past events are described in English. Example: yesterday she went to the park and met her friends. Prepositions and articles. When you read a blog post or an article, pay attention to how prepositions like in, on, and at are used. These small words make a big difference in grammar. Example: he lives in New York at 42nd Street. Conjunctions in dialogue. If you're reading dialogue between two characters, notice how conjunctions like and, but, and because are used to connect ideas. Example: I wanted to go to the party, but I had too much homework. Reading challenge. Here's a fun challenge for you. Find a short story or article in English and read it. As you read, underline examples of present tense verbs, past tense verbs, prepositions, and conjunctions. Afterward, write down a few sentences that use the same grammar you found in the story. For example, if you found a sentence using the past tense, write a sentence of your own using the same verb tense. Example: if you find a sentence like, "She went to the store," you can write, "He went to the market." If you find a sentence using present continuous like, "I am studying English," try writing, "She is reading a book." Share your sentences in the comments below. Additional reading resources. You can find great reading materials and stories specifically designed for language learners on Thestorspeak Online. These stories are written in simple English, making them perfect for practicing grammar while enjoying a good story. Your turn now. It's time to put your reading skills into action. In the comments, share a sentence you read recently that helped you understand a grammar rule better. It could be a sentence that uses tenses, prepositions, or punctuation correctly. I'd love to see what you're reading. Reading is one of the best ways to improve your grammar, and I hope today's session has inspired you to pick up a book, article, or story to keep learning. This is the end of our grammar series. I hope these 8 parts have helped you feel more confident about learning grammar. Keep practicing, keep reading, And don't forget to check out more materials on Thester Speak Online to continue improving your English skills. Thank you for joining me, and I can't wait to see how much you improve. ALs on Thester Speak Online to continue improving your English skills. Thank you for joining me, and I can't wait to see how much you improve.